Hello out there. Can everyone hear and see me? Check, check. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thanks, John. Hey, Bree. So, welcome everyone. This is exciting to be inside Remo. My name is Johnny Halstead, and I'm going to be the moderator for today's breakout session. More of a loose Q&A conversation with some really exciting panelists that will join me in a moment. If you're wondering who I am, I work as a consultant and as a senior director at a Seattle-based events marketing agency called SHW. I've been in the events industry for 20 years. As you can tell by my accent, I'm originally from New Zealand and worked in New Zealand and Australia and Asia Pacific for many years, as well as here in North America. I moved here permanently in late 2017 to really get amongst Seattle's tech industry because it's really exciting. And we'll talk a lot about that today. But previously, I worked in music festivals all around the world for many years as an executive producer, major sporting events, consumer lifestyle conferences, usually around events marketing, experiential production, and sponsorships. Joining me today, 3 really exciting, hopefully 4, we've just lost one of them, but at least 3 really exciting speakers that are going to join us for the conversation. And, you know, we're just going to have a bit of loose Q&A. There is a chat going on, so you can throw me a question or 2 if you like, if there's something that's really burning away in your mind. But otherwise, we're just going to keep the conversation going for about 20, 25 minutes, and then we'll have some mingling at the end. Once again, thank you to the Northwest Event Show for hosting us. It's so exciting to be a part of that organization and this community. And I want to thank Red Element Studios for hosting the live stream, the industry conversation, climbing the technology tower just prior to this. I hope you all managed to see that live. If you didn't, no worries, because the Northwest Event Show will be posting it on their website probably within the next 24 hours and pushing it out to your inbox if you happen to be on their email database, which I suggest you sign up for. If you're wondering what's going on in the background and where I am, I'm actually at a client's offices in Seattle, setting up for a shoot with their CEO that will be kicking off about 1 o'clock. So my crew is just busy in the background setting up. I did not stage this. This is what my life is like these days. I'm either directing from home at my office or down at the studio at SHW or out on location, usually wearing a mask. Now, time to bring the other speakers up with me. First and foremost, I want to welcome a friend of mine and a woman that I admire very much and aspire to be like. Her name is Chaitra Vedapuli, and she is the founder of Women in Cloud, and she is also co-founder and CMO of Mailer. Hi, Chai.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you
for inviting me.
Oh, it's a pleasure to see you. As I said in the conversation earlier, I'm actually surprised to see you because I've never known you to have an hour spare whenever I've needed you in the past. So thank you for making the time for this community.
Absolutely. Where there's community, I'm there.
Yeah, that's right. You're a very, very busy woman. And I'm really excited to talk to you today. Now, next joining us is, I think Christina is still struggling to get free of what she was doing and join us. So I'm going to invite George to come up on stage. Now, George C. Huang, medical doctor, is not here to talk about medicine. He is here to talk about Remo because he is the Director of Customer Experience and Success at Remo, our host platform for this breakout session. Hello, George. Welcome.
Hey, Johnny. Thanks.
It's a pleasure. And the other panelist that's here with us now is Bree Donofrio. And Bree is the founder and virtual events maven at VEE by Bree. Bree, are you able to come up on stage? There she is. Hi, Bree.
Hey, Johnny. Great to see you again. Hi, George.
Hey, Bree.
Now, we've just lost Chai. Where's Chai going?
The world of virtual events, huh?
Yeah, and live, no less. You know, which is why I like to, whenever possible, set up a camera crew and pre-record, post-edit, and then push it live. But that's not the joy of breakout sessions where you can have real live conversations and active Q&A. And in that spirit, I've got some questions that I want to throw you guys each. I want to start with you, Chaitra. Chaitra, you've got such a fascinating backstory, and I'd like you to share a little bit about yourself today. And I want to ask you a couple of questions. There's really two parts to my opening question for you. Is firstly, what got you started? What inspired you to get in tech? And then bringing it into the here and now as a follow-up to that in 2020, what is one big risk you have taken this year and in the context of COVID-19, since the pandemic started, that has turned out to be a great success and that our community could learn from? So what inspired you to start, and what was one big risk that you've taken in 2020?
Cool. That's a great question, Johnny. First is thank you for having me. Excited to be here. So I have two roles that I play. One is I'm a co-founder and CMO at Mela. So we are a cloud tech company with a mission to create economic access through digital transformation. So we have cool technologies like Speaker Engage and Main Street digital platform, really designed for creating economic access. And we very closely work with the enterprise companies and also small business communities to activate economic access. The other role which I'm very passionate about is a co-founder and president of Women in Cloud, which is really creating $1 billion of economic access for women tech founders so they can actually win enterprise opportunities easily, because there's a huge amount of glass ceiling with $7.1 trillion of opportunity. Less than 1% of that economic access is provided for female tech founders. So let me give you a beginning. I actually never thought I will be in the tech. I thought I will be in fashion or music, but I did my electrical engineering and got married very quickly. Like immediately after my engineering, I got married. So when I moved to US, so basically at that time, I had a choice to do master's in music or look into something that is emerging. And I had taken like a COBOL class when I was in college. And I still did not like it because it was a black screen. However, I connected with a mentor of mine. He said, why don't you consider Oracle databases? It is more visual. You can do it. And at that time, it was very, the conversation around the Microsoft Office was coming out. So it has that visual component. It had colors. I said, maybe the software may be a good. So kind of decided to go into the tech industry. So 20 years being there, doing licensing, enterprise contracts, to channel, to development, to consulting. What I realized is it is much more exciting to be there because I could see the invisible aspect of tech. I could visualize it. I could see it. I can tell the value prop. So that one was very exciting. So very strong career in Oracle and Microsoft before I moved out and started becoming an entrepreneur. So as part of tech, I've always used tech as an enabling tool or a platform which drives transformation in people's lives. So when I think about it, wherever I'm looking, I'm always looking for gadgets that can remove manual efforts and it can automate so I can do fun stuff with people. So for me, tech was very, very important. So when I look at, I've been always a community builder. So technology integration were very important. But doing the tech journey, building tech stack was one of my core skill set. So I could stack multiple tech to really create an experience. So there's no fear of tech. Like I'm never afraid of it. Okay, the network went out, so what? We'll come back in. So I'm not going to panic about it, right? So when I look at now and how much, the kind of learning I have over the 20 years and really changing how the community building is done, that has been very, very transformational, extremely transformational, because the skills which I thought would be helpful actually came handy during the pandemic. Working from home, absolutely love it, right? Because I am not afraid to be who I am. And this is the person. So there's no dual personality I'm living with. I'm actually living with one personality. That's me. Number two, it also allowed me to scale my access points strategically. So now we can get access. The way Women in Cloud is built through the partnership, we have access to 100 million women across the world. And we built everything during pandemic. Right. And we used Remo as our technology stack, and we used our Speaker Engage as our technology stack to really make sure we have a complete technology to really serve a community at that size. So a couple of my learnings in the tech during the pandemic is pick a stack of technologies and then become master at it. Don't try to change tech as like clothes every day, because it's going to overwhelm everyone. And number two is really focus on, if you're doing events, focus on two things: networking and education. If you want education, use Zoom or remote streaming technology. So that's great. But if you really want to create infinite opportunities, you need is networking technologies. Right now, there's only two, which I would say really good. One is Remo and AirMeet. Those are the two technologies out there. I like Remo because it was designed for women. So, and the networking for women. So I was like, perfect. It's very colorful, beautiful environment, and my community loves it. And number three, which I learned, was have stitch all the technologies to really bring people together and faster so they can connect. So LinkedIn doesn't work. Facebook doesn't work because Facebook takes all your data and you don't want to give. So we actually leverage Mighty Network as a technology to keep our community tight and integrated. So between Speaker Engage, Remo, and Mighty Network, we were able to pull any events that we needed at any given time. And we only have 3 tech to use with. All other things are bells and whistles.
Oh, that's great. So Mighty Network, was it?
Yes, Mighty Network.
Yeah, excellent. That's a new one for me, so I'm going to have a look at that. Well, that's excellent, Kai. And I mean, it's a great closing statement for me to throw over to George here, who is from Remo. I mean, there's so much in what Chaitra has just said that I'm sure inspires some thoughts for you to share with the group. But if I can throw you a question,
Sure.
just to stimulate with Remo and other platforms that you've experienced, good and bad, because not all are as good as Remo. What are the quintessential tools that you can recommend to our audience of event planners and producers that you see are essential for a successful virtual event?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think there are exploding number of tools that are available at this current time, and we'll see more in the next several months. In the land,
it can be overwhelming.
Absolutely. So I think the choices really depend on what are you trying to accomplish with your event? What is the purpose of your event? And for some people, they just want to use the traditional quote webinar style and just talk to people like they have a megaphone, and they don't care about interactivity at all. And I know that because I've spoken with some of them, which shocks me. It absolutely shocks me, right? But Remo was created to humanize interactions. And if you look at social media has actually become antisocial in many ways, right? And so Remo was designed to bring humanity back to relationships, to give people an opportunity to connect, to collaborate, and to communicate like respectful human beings ought to communicate. And so we designed the interface to be, and Chaitra, thank you for the compliments. She was not compensated to say that. I was shocked to hear that. But yes, we really designed this so it would bring mimic the live interactions as much as possible, in being able to move from table to table and floor to floor and move from building to building. We don't have other buildings linked up, but we could link up other virtual buildings if we wanted to. And to be able to speak with one another in terms of turning on your camera, microphone, or share screens. So Remo is really great for people who value that level of human interaction. And there are, Remo's not for everybody. I'll be the first to say that, because there's some people who just don't care. They just want to talk to people, and they want to say, hey, I have something to say, you listen. And then people who show up, they just sit there. And
George, I have an input to add to it.
Please.
Yeah, I have an input to add, because what you said was, I think everybody should care about people. Otherwise, you lose your audience completely. And Remo had, I know it's a platform, but it drives that human connection and inclusive connection, which is what was important for us.
Yeah, and that's a key word there, inclusion.
Mm.
We want to include as many people as possible, and but not everybody cares. Not every event creator cares about that. I've been shocked, but I speak with people literally from around the world every day, and some of them go, "Well, we chose a different platform." Well, how come? Well, we don't care about the interactivity. Really? Okay. What can I say? Everybody's got to make their choices for themselves. But I think that I think we're continuing to we take feedback from our hosts and our guests and our speakers and sponsors of events seriously. So we take feedback from them about how to make the platform even better. How do we make it more interactive? How do we make it more inclusive?
And so you're constantly optimizing the technology based on the changes and evolution
Absolutely.
that we're experiencing, the rapid change of 2020.
Yeah, we're very much customer focused, customer first. When we make business decisions, all things being equal, if there's a decision to be made, we'll make the decision in favor of our customers rather than in favor of the company.
Mm.
And we don't just say that; we actually walk that talk.
I love that. And I share that sentiment. I always refer to it as remaining agnostic when it comes to platform and hosting, and finding the solution that is best suited or tailored to my client's needs.
I agree.
That's awesome.
I recommend that as well. And I learned that from being a surgeon. When it comes to options and alternatives, sometimes medication is good, sometimes surgery is good, but you have to help the patient walk through what's best for them. And the same thing with a platform. So if someone says to me, "Oh, I don't care about people being able to move around," then I go, "Okay, well, Remo is probably not for you."
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Well, in my experience, Remo is for me because I like moving around. And after we leave the stage and go out on the floor, I'm going to find you, George, because I want to hear the story about how you went from being a surgeon to helping bring us Remo. But thank you for having us here today. And
thank you.
I just want to toss over to Bree here. Bree, thanks for joining us. And you and I've had a couple of conversations now about how much we love nerding out on this stuff, video. And I guess my question for you, and I kind of already know the answer from some of our conversations previously, is how has technology shaped the way you look at the events that you're working on since the pandemic?
Yeah, well, for me, my background, in addition to event planning, in addition to my college degree and almost like a side passion, was film production. So for me, when it comes to technology, utilizing cameras, sounds, and all of the engaging strategies you can use through a screen, through a camera to connect with people, to make an impact on people before, during, and after an event has been second nature to me, as well as the greatest blessing since, I launched my business and the pandemic hit, because I get to do exactly what I love simultaneously with events and video. So for me, I think it has been a massive bonus. There, I think, is a very much a limiting belief about you can't create a human connection through these virtual platforms or through a camera. And I could not more adamantly disagree with that. If anything, since March, I have created a larger network, stronger relationships, and more experience and reach than I've ever experienced in my 15-year global event planning career. So for me, it has been a massive contributor, and it has totally skyrocketed and elevated my entire experience, both on a personal level, creating friendships, and also on a professional level with my business and opportunities like this. Everything from connecting with people in Lisbon, Portugal, to the UK, to anywhere across the domestic United States, Australia, and we can all be sitting here in this space together having conversation, where prior to this, using a platform like Remo in this virtual event space, it really wouldn't have been possible unless we happened to have traveled and met at an event together, or some random kismet way met online. So for me, this has been one of the greatest things and developments that's ever happened in my career. And if anything, my film background, my training with film production, and my passion for it has been kind of almost like my secret weapon or superpower, if you will, because I've been able to apply everything I've learned from how lighting can impact an event. Sound is everything. If you can't hear me right now, if my sound was shot, there is no point in me being right now on camera. These massive factors that sometimes are overlooked and people don't realize how valuable that is. And there's a lot of strategy and rehearsal that you can put in when it comes to storytelling. And I view a lot of these virtual events or experiences as a way to share a story and connect with people and relate with people. And I think by leveraging the technology from video to sound to the virtual event platforms, things like these breakout rooms and meeting tables are just essential. Sometimes it is a better fit to have, you know, more of a webinar. Like I kind of view that as the auditorium of the virtual events when you're watching someone speak on stage and you sit quietly, you listen, and, you know, you submit your questions at that time. Versus when we're able to all go to these tables together, sit down and engage with one another and take emails and connect, and the affinity and relationship carries, you know, long after the event is over.
Yes, true, too true. It's still impactful experiential is what I like to think, you know, regardless of whether we're watching from home and, you know, like you, I've got a background in broadcasting. And I think the fact that, and one of my many takeaways from the industry conversation just prior during Northwest Event Show's Climbing the Technology Tower live stream was actually by Jordan from Pathable, another great platform that I use a lot with clients that like it. And he said that now the floodgates have opened for virtual events. And what I took from the meaning from that is this pandemic will pass and we will return to in-person live events, but our generation has changed forever. Our industry has changed forever, and there will always be cameras that are live and capturing, and they will always be streaming that in some shape or form to the digital landscape.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. When I do always push back on the return of in-person events, because I truly do not think they're ever going to be the nostalgia that a lot of us are hanging on to of what they once were. There's so much value and ROI with this virtual space, everything from event costs to transportation to the amount of reach you can have, that, you know, even when those in-person resume, you're looking at hybrid, of course, and it's going to be a while before we're filling an auditorium with several thousand people. It is, you know, with social distancing, you know, hand sanitizer, mask, the works, it's going to be several years before things are going to feel the old sense of normal we were used to.
We'll find a happy new normal. But I share your perspective there, and I'm trying very hard to convince many of my corporate clients that June 2021 is probably not far enough away for considering a full return to in-person events. And on that note, it appears that Christina Romero, creative director from We Communications, is unable to join the conversation today. But for the last 6 or 7 minutes or so before we go to back to the room to network with our guests, I just want to throw around to everyone. I suppose the question that, and preceding that as some preamble, I'm very cognizant of the fact that the industry has been through a sea change, as the entire world has, and there are still a lot of our peers, our colleagues that are struggling. I work for a number of organizations, both agencies and corporates that have in-house event teams, many of which were furloughed for many weeks, if not months, if not still. You mentioned, Bree, the transport industry, for example, very heavily hit. The hotel industry, airlines. There's so many different parts to our industry that make up the big global in-person events that we've been a part of for so many years. And for many of our audience, they'll be wondering how they can pivot and how they can upskill and educate and learn to get the skills and therefore get the opportunities to be a part of the virtual space. So if I can just throw it around, everyone can give a bit of a speed answer, a bit of speed dating to finish off. But if there was one piece of advice that you would give any of our audience that might be needing to be inspired and given an opportunity to take that next step up and get into the virtual events space, what would that one piece of advice be? I'll start with you, Bree.
Okay. For me, so this is exactly what, here goes my pen. This is exactly what I've been really trying to get my message out there and what my new programming revolves around, which is about turning this passion that you've had or your business into this virtual online space, and not only that, monetize off of it. And for me, if there's one thing I'm going to get across, it really is a matter of thinking outside the box, and you have to try and recalibrate the way you think of your business, the way you think of your immersion, interaction, engagement, or entertainment. And whatever it looked like and felt like before, how can you replicate and elevate that in a virtual space? Because it is possible. Mixologists are doing it, magicians are doing it, entertainers are doing it, way outside of the event planning community. I say now it's not just for event planners anymore. It's getting big. You're seeing these online experiences, marketplaces blow up left and right, from Airbnb to Hopin to even Zoom just launched their own. And that says something, and it's something to pay attention to. So for me, it's think outside the box, get creative, have fun with it, and experiment.
Yeah, turn up, be there. No, that's awesome. And Chatra, I mean, you've seen industry scale before without the context of a pandemic. But again, I ask you, if you've got one piece of advice for our audience out there that might need a bit of inspiration on how to take that leap of faith into virtual events, what would it be?
Sure, Johnny. Great insights, Bree. Really cool insight. I would say is as event organizers, you loved Excel spreadsheets and you loved all this Excel. Please, has to go away. Automate your stuff. Love technology. The technologists are here to change the game. And with pandemic, all the event technologist is the new journey. Embrace it and have a technology right next to you. And second thing is to really focus on creating infinite connection as your event strategy, not just, hey, I want to throw an event on, but it's really what kind of connections and value you're creating and bring that to the table. Every time you think about event, think about the ROI of event from a human connection perspective, not that, oh, I just did an event, not exciting at all. The virtual makes it scalable, and learn how to engage the community in events, because I personally believe is when I entered like people thought like I'm a technology, why am I in the events industry? She does not belong here. And I'm like, excuse me, we are technologists. We are here to change. And as part of the technology cap I wear, I would say is love technology, have an event technologist right next to you, because they are the one who will help you create the new money that you want to see in the events industry. So love it.
That's excellent. Awesome. And in that spirit, we're going to finish off with you, George, the host of today's breakout session. We're in your technology. So what is your one piece of advice for our audience out there that want to get a part of this part of the industry, virtual events?
Yeah, I would say to really go deep inside and ask yourself, how can I bring value to people in today's age with things rapidly changing every day? And then say, okay, how can I deliver that value in a virtual environment? It may take a little bit of creativity. It may be obvious, but whatever it takes, start experimenting very quickly and make your course corrections equally quickly. But start by asking, what can I provide that's valuable to people?
I love it. It's always about bringing value. And the value can be in some unexpected places. Well, I certainly hope each of you have not only added value, which I know you have, but have some value to take away from this. And no doubt our audience will have garnered some great insights as well. Any last statements before we go back to the floor and work the room with Remo? Any last statements, guys?
I think I just want to say, if I could just embrace, this evolved world that we're maybe thrust into at faster speed than we expected. And I think just take advantage of it and appreciate this technology at our disposal and how powerful it is and what it can do for you.
Yeah, and Johnny, like if you look at the number of people who are attending, 4 here, 10 people who are listening, I would say you're the brave, brave, brave warriors in the event space. So congratulations for, stretching yourself and being here. And second is reach out to people in the tech world because they need you. They need you, and you need to engage with them, because when you bring that entertainment experience with the interactive technology, that is your new event experience, and really amazing revenue sources open up for everyone. And I would love everyone to at least explore the speaker engagement platform, because it is an automation for managing all the speakers and sponsors. So would love you guys to experience it.
My parting word is to look at today's challenges, our emerging challenges, as an opportunity to showcase the intersection of your purpose, passion, and power without showboating.
So true, so true. I love that. Well, in that spirit, guys, thank you so much, George, for having us. Thank you for joining us, Chaitra and Bree. Sorry we couldn't get Christina on the line today. Let's head back over to the floor and catch up with some of our guests. Thanks, everyone.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.